best hoodie in the game here, Liam the music reviewer. Welcome, and today we are going to be talking about the new Lil Peep song, "Cry Alone." This is a posthumous track which will be appearing on "Come Over When You're Sober" Part 2, the follow-up to surprise surprise "Come Over When You're Sober" from last year, which is probably one of my favourite releases of last year. I wasn't a huge fan of this at all when it first came out, but it just seemed to grab me closer to the end of the year. Obviously, Peep died November 15th last year. He overdosed. It was a great shame. I think I'm kind of glad that there wasn't as many kind of assholes about when it came to that, because there's a lot of people who seem to think that just because they hate somebody's music, that necessarily means that they hate them as a person. It's just kind of not how that works in those kind of situations. But it was, everyone can agree that it was a shame that he passed. It's such a young age that he did. But we're getting this kind of follow up to it. As I say, I like that release. The more I've listened to it, the more I've just kind of grown sort of connected to it. I think that Peep's a very kind of like compelling voice, as far as I'm aware. The way that he samples certain works, he's sampled like the microphones and that, which isn't really something that many people that kind of like, well, especially hip hop, isn't something that usually gets brought up all that much. And I think that whenever he does interpolate these songs, he does them justice. It isn't just kind of a case of, oh, I know this band, I'm gonna bring them up, or that. And like I say, it's a shame that he's not around anymore, because I think that in terms of this whole kind of like sad boy emo rap sort of trend that's going around just now, I think that he was definitely one of the more interesting characters, and he had a personality both within his music and out with it. And I was a fan of that stuff, and I was quite scared when it came to this song, if I'm being perfectly honest, because there was that one Falling Down that came out. I don't know how long ago it came out. It was like in the past month with XXX Tentacion, which felt like just a soulless cash grab by the label, who saw these two people have passed. They have very popular they're both very popular. They've got big viable fan bases, so we're just going to kind of take advantage of it. That's the overall vibe I got from that song, and just kind of the nature of it. When it came to this song though, again, I was still a bit anxious, because as the first single, like how much work had been done, how much of a say did Peep have on it. And now that I've listened to it numerous times, I do think that like it definitely feels like akin to what he's done before, but it doesn't feel like a retread of it either. In terms of the production, you have the classic pairing of the guitars and the trap beats. He's always been doing that, but usually there was this more of kind of like a moodier kind of like the SoundCloud rap sound, whereas now, that at least with this song anyway, it feels more pop punk than anything. Maybe grunge at a push, but it feels a lot poppier, or pop punkier. To me, the guitars are a lot more sort of like wailing, and just like going along, and just like really they're the real driving force to the song. The beats are like what they usually are. They're not anything to kind of like write home about. But I think the way they work off each other kind of like sets the mood of more of a sort of like party track than like a wallowing one, which Pete was quite good at on the last release. And I'm wondering whether or not he's going to end up kind of like including these, or like whoever ends up like kind of like arranging this all together, like what they're going to be like. Again, there might be some songs on there that might feel a bit rushed together, and for me, this one doesn't feel like that. I was reading in the video description that apparently like the video was recorded whenever like this, that Peep had all these kind of like songs already in that. So like obviously the vocals are already been done, more just like general kind of execution of these ideas along with the vocals. And the kind of like the theme of it is like a sort of like just kind of like, oh, like fuck everyone, like, oh, I hate my hometown and all that, which can sound quite generic, and if I'm being perfectly honest, like there's not much being said here that makes me kind of go, oh, that's profound, or that's quite compelling. It's pretty much just kind of like a bit sort of like prototypical of this kind of, like I say, like the pop punk sound that it's going for here. There could be the argument made that it can get a bit sort of bittersweet at points, because he's like saying like, oh, tell the rich kids, look at me now, and it's sort of with the obvious context that also wasn't in mind when he was writing it, but it's definitely kind of like, it takes on like a bit of a new form, but it's not so overwhelmingly emotive with how kind of like in this new context, just sort of like, oh, that's something to like take into consideration now. But as a complete package, I think it's a fun sort of single. It's definitely a catchy one. I think even people that don't like this song will agree with me that it's pretty damn catchy. I'll find myself mumbling along to it, no doubt, for the rest of the year. And I'm looking forward to potentially reviewing this, just the whole project when it comes out. I'm still not 100% sure or not I'll do that. I'll make the decision closer to the time and that. But I'm hoping to have a video next month, either going to be something to do with Lil Peep, either an album review or another sort of feature thing that I've got in mind, but we'll talk about that whenever I decide to do that or not. I don't ever rate tracks. I'm really not sure if I'll ever like bring in like a system of like, oh, should you listen to it or not. But I think if you disliked Lil Peep or his music before, I wouldn't like thoroughly recommend it, but I say give it a go, because it's definitely not like a kind of copy and paste job of the sort of palette that you was working with before. If you like Lil Peep before, you've probably already listened to it, so you don't need me to kind of like edge you on to go and give it a go. But if for some reason you haven't, go listen to it. You'll no doubt like it. You might even love it. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about this song. Hopefully I'll have more track reviews coming out in the future. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and as always, stay safe and stay hydrated.
Kissing on styrofoam right now. I wanna die. I found myself complaining a lot, being very ungrateful for the things that I have in my life, and so I got the crybaby tattoo on my face to remind me that I have a really good, and there's a lot of people on earth who would, love to be in the position I'm in, so it just keeps me really grateful.